everyone. The regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Public You want to tell them
Do it.
Okay. Greetings once again. The regular notice requirement Greetings. The regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act.
Mr. President, if I may briefly, excuse me, members of the public, excuse me, may I have your attention, please? May I please have your attention? Members of the public, may I please have your attention? Mr. Delgado, how you doing, sir? May I ask on behalf of the Camden City Board of Education for members in attendance to please be courteous and respectful of this public body so that we can call this meeting to order. If you continue to disrupt this meeting, we will be prohibited from conducting our business. So members of the public, so we have not called this meeting to order yet. However, I will note that in consultation with the superintendent and board leadership, the board has agreed to amend the regular order of its meeting. So after the board president, if you will be so polite and kind to allow him to, opens the meeting, the board will entertain public comment from the public in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. So with that, Mr. Muhammad, would you please just read the notice and the minutes will reflect that was read. Thank you so much.
The regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act has been complied with, and an adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On January 9th, 2024, notice was mailed to the Carrier Post, Philadelphia Inquirer, and posted on the district website. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We would ask that you please respect the flag of our country and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Prepare for roll call, please.
Okay. Roll call. Jeanette Alvarez. Wanda Garcia. Naima Gillespie. Cameron Hudson. Danielle Jackson. Karen Merricks. Wasim Muhammad. Nanam D. Nelson. There is a quorum, and Maria Perez. Sorry. Okay.
At this time, we will move into the public comment portion of the meeting. Please govern yourselves accordingly. I'll turn it over to our counsel to read the public comments portion, which is read at every single meeting. Please let me remind you, however, that we will need to make sure that everyone who has signed up has the opportunity to speak. But in order to do that, we must make sure we abide by the 3 minutes that have been allowed for each person, and that if we are going to respect one another, we have to do it. If you want your voices heard, it cannot happen unless there is mutual respect for voices that have come to sign up to speak. So at this time, I'll turn it over to our counsel to lead us through the public comment portion of this meeting. Thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at its meetings. This public comment period is your time to present your comments to the board and the superintendent. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. You will be notified when your 3 minutes are up, and you cannot yield your time to another person. When it is your turn to speak, please come to the podium and address all of your comments to the superintendent or general counsel. Please be courteous to your fellow community members and keep your comments within the time frame allotted so that everyone has the opportunity to speak. At the end of the 3 minutes, the microphone will be cut off and we will end your comment. We will also request that you please conduct yourself in a respectful manner. The First Amendment is not absolute, and the board can prohibit language that is inappropriate or vulgar. And again, please direct your comments to the superintendent or board counsel. For anyone whose comments or actions harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. We will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes for comments unless we deem it necessary. If a member of the public speaks negatively about a staff member, interruption may be necessary to caution the speaker of the danger of slander and a potential private cause of action against that or by that employee. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or her designee will address your questions to the extent provided by law. As there are several individuals signed up for public comment this evening and the time frame in which to provide public comment has been extended, we request everyone to be mindful of the time clock, again, 3 minutes per speaker, displayed to ensure there is an adequate opportunity for everyone to speak. And Madam Superintendent, we have 36 individuals signed up this evening to speak. The first speaker is Mr. Keith Benson. Mr. Benson?
Justin.
Thank you. Good. I had come with some planned agenda to speak on, but I'm going to give you that in paper form, and I'm going to talk off the record. Let everybody on the board get a copy of that. But when I came in, you guys, I got here early, and you guys were playing gospel music, so it kind of changed my direction. I actually wanted to go to the Bible because of the gospel music that I was hearing. This whole evening, the situation reminds me of 3 verses. I'm glad I got 3 minutes because I 1 minute per verse. The first one you might have heard of is Matthew 16:26. What does it profit someone to gain the whole world and lose their soul? I'm saying this board must have lost its soul to endanger our children with somebody we had to pay $2 million for, and you expect us to accept that. That's verse number 1. I think I'm under my 2 minutes. The verse number 2 is Luke 17:2, where Jesus himself said, it would be better to be thrown into the sea with a millstone around your neck than to harm one of these little children. He's talking to you, board. And the third one that really brings it home is Romans 1:28. It says, and that they did not like to retain God in their actions, God gave them over to a reprobate mind so that they would do the things that are disgraceful. It is utterly disgraceful that you would know this man's record and tell him you're going to make him the board president. Here's the ask and the demand. He's not going to have anything to do with school board or anything with the school district. And any elected official that militates against that, which is the voice of the people, I want to thank you all, because it's been 30 years I've been trying to organize this community. Guess what? We're organized around this. We're organized around this. So thank you for helping us. You will either do the right thing, like Spike says, or you'll deal with the public. Thank you. Have a good evening.
The next speaker is Troy Oglesby. Troy Oglesby. Members of the public, can you please refrain from interrupting the meeting? Mr. Oglesby, the floor is yours. Thank you.
I'm here to really give a message that's pretty difficult for anybody that's in the servitude, as you guys are here. You guys are elected officials. And I can just tell you that when you took your oath to adhere to the community and do the best for our community, we entrusted you with that. And when we entrusted you with that, you accepted it so that we laid back and we just let whatever your actions do represent what we do. It's very difficult when you have a coworker that does something that you might not agree with. You don't have to not stop liking him or loving him, but But when the consequences become greater than your ethic responsibility to our community, then at that point, your integrity and your ethic code, everything comes into play. There's a price tag. There's a price tag on what we can afford to allow to happen in our community. Unfortunately, when it gets into the millions of dollars, that optic is something we can't reverse. You just can't reverse. It's a lot of times we ask the person who causes that kind of damage to take it upon themselves to relieve our friendships so that we won't make a difficult decision. I'm not asking anybody on this board to not love or like Brother Muhammad any differently, but I'm asking this board to look at your responsibility to the greater, that's bigger than you in the seat, to look at the community. This is a gathering of people voicing their opinion, and it just can't be discounted. You can't just write that off. You just got to accept that whatever decision that is hard in front of you, you have to make it. And we'll continue to do whatever we can to make sure that the decision is always going to be in the best interest of our children, of our school, of our city, and of our community. I hope that you guys make the best decision. I hope that you understand that it's very difficult to make those decisions, but that's why we elected you. Thank you.
Thank you. The third individual who signed up to speak, respectfully, I cannot read your name, but whoever has number 3, will you please come to the mic and state your name and address for the record? Thank you.
I'm Reverend Dr. Russell Owen, live in Pine Hill, New Jersey, Camden County. Respect to my elders behind me. Respect to the community members. Respect to the youth behind me. Deep love for my community. As I sit here and I look, I see that there's conflict in some of your faces. You didn't ask for this. But what I really want to speak to is integrity. Ask yourself, is this board full of integrity right now? Because if one piece is broken, that means the whole wheel is damaged. Did you sign on to serve something that didn't have integrity? I speak to your leadership, and I ask you to consider this today. I know many of you have children. Do you have daughters? I stand in the gap right now for that young lady. I don't need 3 minutes. While you're asleep, she's tossing and turning. While you're moving on with your life, she's conflicted. Is that right? Is that fair? It's time for us to bring Camden out of the ashes. Since when do we stand for injustice? I'm going to say it again. Since when do we stand for injustice? I remember reading about Martin Luther King Jr. while he was in the Birmingham jail. For nothing. And they kept telling him, wait. Why does it always wait? Why does it always have to be wait? How long? Why not right here, right now, tonight? Because I'm looking at many of your faces, and I know you don't condone the actions that happen. And all I'm asking is for you to rise up with courage. Because if it was your child, you would be standing where we're at today. Silence is betrayal.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Nadina Brown. Nadina Brown. And while Ms. Brown is making her way up to the podium, just to, I guess, manage the expectations of the public, just please note that the Camden City Board of Education, the members of this Board of Education, pursuant to state statute, do not have the power or authority to remove a board member under these circumstances. Similarly, the governor of the state of New Jersey does not have the authority to remove a board member. Similarly, the Commissioner of Education nor the state-appointed superintendent, Dr. Katrina McCombs, does not or do not have the authority to remove a board member under these circumstances. Thank you, sir. Ms. Brown?
Excuse me.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Superintendent, Camden City Board of Education. My name is Nadina Brown. I'm a school nurse within the district. Within my time here in Camden City Schools, I have served at Whittier, Bonsall, Yorkshire, and recently I moved with the Yorkshire Middle School to Morgan Village Middle School. On August 14th, I received an email stating I will be moved to Dudley Family School due to the nursing department losing a school nurse position and what is best for the district. I have great respect for the Dudley principal and understand their need for a full-time nurse. It was not until I learned that a newer early childhood nurse would be then taking my position at the middle school that I asked for more clarity on the reason behind the involuntary transfer. What I learned was that being moved to Dudley, that I was being moved from Morgan Village to Dudley involuntarily because I am a stronger nurse. Further, that there were fear that the newer nurse who would be taking my position would drown if placed at Dudley. My response is that this reasoning is not my fault, and not the students and families at Morgan Village Middle School's fault either. If the district hires nurses that cannot fulfill the job of any of our schools, the burden should be on the district to supply supports. The burden and responsibility to pick up the pieces should not be placed on the strong staff members or the students, which will be affected. In April of this year, 2024, the Supreme Court made a ruling in response to the Muldrow case, which defined when a Title V discrimination claim for involuntary transfer can be sought. From the ruling, an employee must show that the transfer brought about some harm with respect to an identifiable term or condition of employment. Harm can include a longer commute to a different school building in the district, a different population of students, a larger class size, number of students, and others which do not apply in this case. Discrimination can be based off of age, experience level, or even if one is felt to be better at their job than another. Change from Morgan Village to Dudley will result in a longer commute, a different population, and an increase in the number of pupils, potential punishment for being a stronger nurse. In PERC citation HE number 2003/1329 NJPER 43, the Camden City School District was found to have violated the New Jersey Employer-Employee Relations Act NJSA 3413A. In this case, the administrator was involuntarily transferred from one building to another within 2 months after she brought complaints to the district and union about interview process for the position the administrator was seeking. On June 25th, I had a meeting with the district administration over similar concerns regarding a hiring process for which nurses receive places over summer months. Much like the administrator mentioned above, 2 months later, I am facing involuntary transfer. Time is everything is what's written in there. Within my time at MVMS, all my evaluations have good. I've coached the boys basketball team and been featured in articles for such. I work hard and excel at Morgan Village because it's where I'm meant to be. I love these kids. I'm respectfully asking for the superintendent and board to table my transfer.
Next speaker is Damian Irizarry. Damian Irizarry.
You got your ticket? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Hello, y'all already know who I am. I'll be here every board meeting. And I'm going straight off the dome because I said at the last board meeting when we found out that everything that happened that I did not want to see That man right there. I'm shaking because I'm angry. You know why? Because every single one of y'all told us that we could come to y'all if we need any help. Well, guess what? The students are coming to y'all to protect us from a rapist. We're going to keep that clear, okay? Okay? Because I'm really sick of everything that be happening and that be going on in this district. Because if you would go down the highway to the white people districts, this wouldn't be happening, okay? They will get him out. If our own governor said that for him to resign, and since he runs this board, since we're a state district, how about y'all listen to him? And y'all was talking about that, oh, the board people can't vote him off or the governor can't. Well, guess what? We don't care. We don't give a damn. How about that? Okay, because if we got to go to Trenton to fight this, we will, okay? All right? If I had to have a meeting with Phil Murphy himself, I will do that. You know why? Because I take my job really well. I'll be a student board representative for almost 3 years now. I speak for every student in this building, and I speak for every school, middle school and everything. If my sister stands up right now, she is a little girl. If anything happens to her, I'll be damned. I swear to God. My mom, she is a victim. She's a victim of being raped. My best friend is a victim of being raped. Our own students in this district is victims. How would you think if they be told that our own board president is a rapist? How would they feel? How would they feel? Ms. McCombs, you said at the last board meeting that you were a victim of yourself. How do you feel standing next to a rapist? Let us know now. It's really crazy.
So can I just ask the public, you'll have your time, sir. Direct your comments to the superintendent, but please respectfully, don't make them personalized. Thank you.
This is crazy. Why do we have to be having this conversation right now? There should be, if someone rapes a child, why are they for working with children? His Facebook posted that he was eager to come back to work with the students and the people. Why is he so eager to come work with us? He has his own school, his own everything. He should be able to go there, give him his own pension, his own check, whatever y'all do, and get him out the door. It's not that hard. And if he don't want to resign, well, guess what? Think. Why does he don't want to resign? Because he want to keep on working with kids so that he could keep on doing the things that he do with kids, okay? Thank you.
Speaker is Kevin Waters. Kevin Waters.
Good afternoon. So, arrogance is a sickness when you make a decision to hurt. So what I want to first do is say that to the board, our new construction that's taking place for the new Eastside High School, our gymnasium should be no shorter than what it is right now. Camden High it was a shame how their gym was too small. It's a middle school gym. Our gym should be just as big as it is right now. So parking shouldn't be an issue either. So I am a therapist who works with young people. I've been here for 32 years. And in those 32 years, I've had to deal with young ladies who have been molested by adults. Not only within a school setting, but in their homes. The understanding that I have about what can happen in terms of He doesn't want to resign. You're not going to make him resign because you're afraid of the optics. So don't fear the optics. Do what's right. Your heart has to be put in this. I'm probably going to have to talk to someone this school year who has been sexually molested by an adult. And they're going to expect us to take care of them, to protect them. That has not happened in this situation. So I probably am wrong, but I understand that there is someone up there who can put forth a petition for the president to resign. He should do that. She should do that. It should be done. And you shouldn't be afraid to do it. This is not personal. Resigning is the greater part of humanity. And what has happened to that young lady was not a humane gesture. It was a brutal gesture that turned that young lady into a victim that she has to be traumatized for the rest of her life. Now, what you want to do is make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's what you want to do. I've held back on a lot of what I want to say because what happened was terrible, and you just have to have some heart.
Here's Judith Graham. Judith Graham.
Have some heart.
Judith Graham. Is Ms. Graham present? And after Ms. Graham speaks, the next speaker will be Karen Borelli-Luke.
Okay, I, maybe a couple weeks ago, wanted to know what this person everybody was talking about looked like. Everybody up there knows who I am, and you know how I feel about each and every one of you, with the exception of one. You're janky, every last one of you. When I Googled you and your face came up, I said, sweet baby Jesus. I went to school with your sister, Tia. I've been in your house. I sat at your table. I was served a piece of cake by your mother. Every time I seen Tia for years out in the street, we would hug, we would talk. She's a lover. And I know she's in heaven. And I know she is looking down on you with such utter disrespect. You need to be ashamed of yourself, all your sisters, all your brothers, all your children. People know, I looked at you and know who your kinfolk are. And it makes me sick that you could walk into any building, any day, any time, and see a little girl and make her your victim. And let me tell you why I'm really here real quick. I sent that podcast to every last one of you, to your email, and anybody that would listen to it. I listened to it. And when it got to the end, the lawyer was talking. And he was talking about how years and years after you've been molested, it could come back to you full force. I'm sitting there, I heard you took that young lady into one of those sex dens. You made her have sex with a stranger while you pleasured yourself. And then you took her home and she ran away from you. I was molested as a child. I smelled spearmint through my phone screen when that lawyer was talking. I automatically froze up and start crying. That's not a story I like to share, but if it'll get a nasty Don Diddy Walker predator out of the Camden City Board of Education, I will tell it to anybody that wants to listen. Mic drop.
Thank you. Karen Borelli-Luke. And after Ms. Borelli-Luke, the next speaker is Jose Delgado. Ms. Borelli-Luke, thank you. And after Mr. Delgado will be Vida Ness, I believe it is. Neil, my apology. I'm trying to read your handwriting. My apology. Vida Neil, thank you. The floor is yours.
Good evening. Karen Borelli-Luke, teacher. There are a number of things I wanted to address. I've been teaching in this district for nearly 40 years. I have seen and heard so many things. I've been attending board meetings since I first came into the district. Have things changed? Community involvement and parents' voices used to be welcomed, in fact, encouraged. Now this administration says they want community involvement, parent voices, but actions show otherwise. Even down to removing the opportunity for the community to write in comments to this meeting, abolished. There is a total disrespect and disconnect with utilizing in-house skill sets to better serve the students and community. Admin allows personality clashes to interfere with progress. There is preferential treatment, and where there is justifiable hardworking staff, there is jealousy and targeting. Staff are afraid to speak out and tell the truths of some of the disturbing inner workings of the district and buildings. I want to point out on the board minutes, Camden High's submission for their stipend positions that were listed with value amounts that are incorrect according to our CEA contract. And there are stipend positions listed with a value that didn't even exist in our contract. There are other alerts, and it should be looked at and adjusted prior to approval. I brought up concerns of the Eastside PE class. I understand that some of the concerns have been met. However, there is a lot that has not been dealt with. You never brought the few people in the district that have dealt with similar situations to a table to assist or discuss. Admin would rather deal with hypothetical than reality. We that have a PE cert have skill sets that come with a training and instruction. They should not be ignored. Lastly, I like Mr. Muhammad as a person, but what I can't wrap my head around and infuriates me, a little over a year ago, I was accused of something, placed on administrative leave for 10 months, and I was later found innocent of any wrongdoing. Yet I was uprooted from my school of over 20 years, transferred to another school, and this district is now going after me to withhold my increment, all within the legal system now. But my point, I was innocent, yet faced with all these consequences and 40 years in the district. Yet Mr. Muhammad was accused, found guilty, and cost this district over $2 million and no consequences. Where is the equity? Maybe if I graduated from Camden High or played basketball for Camden High, I would be treated fairly too. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Delgado?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to begin by telling Wasim that he has no business to be on the stage because the jury found you liable, and I'm paraphrasing or quoting the jury, for committing and engaging in outrageous conduct that maliciously harmed and violated the rights of a student under your care. A teacher cannot be hired with that on their record. That's what a jury found. Now, I'm here today to talk about a different type of outrageous conduct and that maliciously violated the rights of our community, students and teachers. I'm speaking about the superintendent. You called a meeting on June 4th with the promise of a community meeting, open dialogue about the tearing down of Eastside High School, and which would in turn force students to be sent to Kramer Elementary School for 5 years. Students came there with a petition opposing that proposition. Teachers attended to voice their concerns, and community members such as I came to protest the placing of children in a school that you characterize as being deplorable. Madam Superintendent, you lied. I wish there was another way of saying it, because deep inside I think you're a very good person, but in your capacity in that instance, you lied. Instead of the promise of an open dialogue, you ran a pep rally. You did this despite Vice President Nelson alerting you to the public's expectation of participation. Not only did you lie, but you also stole from us the right to speak in a gym located in one of our schools. Our school, not your school. Our microphone, not your microphone. You then, the next day, had a meeting with the students, with 2 politicians. You ambushed them in a little meeting aside where they were no support from the community. I served on the Board of Education that was fully empowered and accountable to the public. You would be dusting off your resume on June 5th, the day after, if you had done that during one of those boards. There would be no way that a board would have tolerated the disrespect that you demonstrated on June 4th. But in today's reality, you represent the New Jersey Department of Education, not the best interests of students and teachers. Wasim is not the only person outside our ability to control. Framing this deplorable situation in our district is this advisory board that has failed to discharge its duties from the very beginning. You have failed to advocate for your students. What is this advisory board about? The state decided to tear down a perfectly fine school. You didn't say a word. They talked about putting our children in a school, an elementary school. You didn't say a word. There was no meeting, no nothing.
Ms. Vida Neal, and the next speaker will be Tammy Wilson.
Good evening, board members, with the exception of Minister Wasim. I want to say good evening, Superintendent School, with the exception of that attorney. I want to say, I think you give out bad legal advice. I want to start out by saying the worst day I ever had in my life was Thursday. When you people sit up here and watch this man here, the narcissist, bring his minions in here, reeking and smelling of drugs, and called me every kind of name that my mother didn't name me. And you sat up here, and the cops surrounded me while he called me names that I have never spoke in a school. Because my mom taught me better. See, I'm going to tell you like this here. The same individuals that came up here were all men that cursed me out, called me names, woke up the sleeping dragon in the community because my community came out to protect me. And I thank you.
Address the board, thank you.
And I thank, don't tell me who to address.
I said, could you please address the superintendent? Thank you. Pursuant to the board bylaws and
can I reclaim my time? Can I reclaim my 10 seconds? Can I reclaim my 10 seconds? You like to talk when everybody else is talking. I'm gonna need you to be quiet and set that clock back. I want my 10 seconds back. I reclaim my time. I am reclaiming my time. You need to go back to that town you married at, because we don't want you here. But let me tell you something. To have men attack me like that in a public setting and not have nobody do anything to them, they did it to me. Another thing I want to talk about is this man's kids here. They say Metro is the best police force in the United States, at least with the technology. We have school security. Why are these kids here? This can be very ugly. See, because his kids was all behind me and so was him. Y'all wasn't paying attention. If you think I don't got people in this city that's called family that love me, you don't want to wake them up. You got barricades down here for us, but the barricades should be made like a jail around him. He should be behind these barricades. Let me tell you something. Everything you do is for the people, from the people, by the people. This is public land. We own the land and we own you. And if you don't do our will, we're going to get rid of you and the narcissist vice president too.
Thank you. Tammy Wilson. The next speaker is Tammy Wilson. And the speaker after Mr. Wilson, my apologies, sir, if I mispronounced your name. The next speaker will be Amira Kane. Mr. Wilson, the time is yours.
First and foremost, it's terrible that y'all don't have the morality to eject this man from office. It shows that maybe y'all are his co-conspirators. Maybe y'all are working together. First and foremost, the school district's not doing good. Y'all don't care. Y'all just want to put us in prison. I'm a young man, and in the classroom, there are about a couple students with ankle monitors on. But y'all want to put the youth in prison, but don't want to put that man up there in prison.
Amira Kane. And the speaker after Ms. Kane is Sheila Green.
That's Amira X. Kane. Good afternoon or evening. My name is Amira X. Kane, and I stand here today as a concerned community member and as a Muslim woman to publicly denounce the actions of President, Wasim Muhammad. It has been revealed that Mr. Muhammad caused reckless harm to his former 7th grade student, Salima Robinson, with the intent of damaging her well-being. Even worse, he created a sexually hostile environment for a young girl who should have been protected. What message are we sending out to our children if we allow someone like Wasim Muhammad to stay in leadership? Are we saying their dignity and their well-being is valued less and less important than someone's position? This cannot stand. Let me be clear, this is not a witch hunt against my brother. But this is the community standing and saying we will no longer be silent. The suffering of our people is here. It's being executed right now. The silencing of us. This is about holding you accountable and standing for something and not living for nothing. Our children have the potential to be fierce leaders who can guide us toward freedom, justice, and equality. We cannot be complacent with our current leadership. We must stand up and demand decency and moral responsibility for the sake of our children. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that where there are no decent women, there are no decent men, and that the woman is the mother of civilization. What does that say about our community when our men here cannot lead with decency? It is now the duty of the school board to call a motion to at least vote him to resign. Vote for him to be removed. To do otherwise would expose your true intent, who your true allies are, and where your loyalty lies. I want to talk to you, Wasim. Your name means handsome, good-looking, praiseworthy. You fit that description none whatsoever. What I'm doing is I'm going to make a self-proclamation to now address you by the character that should submit and repent to Allah himself. Remove Donnie Walker! Remove Donnie Walker! Remove
next speaker is Sheila Green. And after Sheila Green, the next speaker who signed up is Anthony Dillard. Ms. Green?
Good evening, all. This is very hard. I'm going to start off by letting you know that PTSD is forever. In children, it starts whenever it starts, and it never dies. They will grow up and be adults, and they will go through these changes for the rest of their lives. It will affect everything in their lives. I wrote a lot of things down, but my heart is telling me to say other things. We should not be disrespectful because we are the parents and the guardians of the children that we're here to defend. Our children does not have the right to vote. We are the reason why you are there. Not because of them, because of us. We decided what we wanted from you. We decided to trust you. As the educators, as the guardians, as the administration, to watch over our children. That's your job. It's just a job. But when you put your heart into it, that means that you do the job with the integrity and the trust that you were given from the day you were born and what your parents taught you as you grew up. There's a lot of disdain that's going on here, but what I feel is this. The right thing to do is the right thing that you do when nobody is looking. Be a person of integrity. Do the right thing when nobody is looking. This is between you and God. It's not between you and us. God's going to deal with you accordingly, according to what you've done, according to what you didn't do, because only the two of you really know what happened. But at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, the PTSD is being exposed by that young woman, that whatever she's going through, I as a woman, as representing any female in this audience, we all know what it feels like. We all know that when it does happen, it does not go away. You can say no all you want, and if he's still coming at you, it's still happening. She's married, she's with children, she's an educator herself now. I followed the story. I am not here to denounce or to demonize anybody. I'm just asking you to do the thing that you actually signed up to do. I remember when you sat on the corner of the board. Now you're sitting next to the superintendent. I remember who you had been. I need you to be who you had been and who you truly are. Because right now, what I'm beginning to see or what they're showing me, this is not who I know. So I just need you to do what's integrity-wise. Take care of what you need to do. It's just the board. Let the school do what it has to do. Let the children know that this is the right thing to do. Because if this was in any other community, this would be really, really bad. This would be really bad. So I just ask you to do the right thing and make sure that the children understand that integrity always comes first. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Dillard. And the next speaker after Mr. Dillard is Kevin Barfield.
Assalamu alaikum. Madam Superintendent, members of the board, good evening. I would like to say, Mr. Walker having only damaged the lives of young girls, he has also damaged the lives of many young men here in the city of Camden. And I'm here to speak on the behalf of myself and my son, whose name is Camden. This matter that we here for is old. This matter has already been adjudicated in the tribunal in the real Nation of Islam among Minister Farrakhan and his constituents. This is why Wasim, pardon me, this is why Donnie Walker is not in the Nation of Islam and has tailor-made his own religion. You don't see any of the you don't see any of the brothers. You don't see any of the brothers Where's Brother Kenyon? Where Brother Jasper? Where Brother James? Where they at? He has tailor-made a religion for his family that is not Islam. I was a member under the tutelage of Donnie Walker. And under that tutelage, we are given restrictive laws in the Nation of Islam. And what I have found that Mr. Walker wasn't practicing what he was preaching. I'm one of those young men that was damaged characterly and morally and ethically under the guidance of Mr. Walker. And it took years for me to get this closure here tonight and to travel my path to find real Islam under the tutelage of Imam Fahim Leah. And I stand here today as an upstanding husband. My wife attests to that every day. I stand here as a great father. My children attest to that every day. All praises are due to Allah, alhamdulillah. Bro, you know what's going on. Go ahead, man. Step down.
Kevin Barfield. And the next speaker after Kevin Barfield is Joe Borrier. Excuse me if I mispronounce your last name. Next speaker is Joe Borrier after Kevin Barfield.
Good evening, everyone. Kevin Barfield. I've been a volunteer. First of all, this is my first time being here in 4 years since the late Miss Martha Wilson passed away. Anybody who knows me know that I've been in this school district, given my time for 15 years, being president of the past president of the Camden, of the District Parent Advisory Council, the Special Needs Advisory Council, and the Early Childhood Advisory Council. Since my boys started in 2004 up until 2019 when Miss Wilson passed. So this is hard for me because I would say that one of the reasons too is because I know you as Donnie Walker. I watched you grow up. I followed you. You know, I admired you when you was a young man doing your thing for representing Camden High School. I see you when I go get my hair cut. You know, so I always respected you. So it's hard for me to stand up here today, not only being here in the memories of Miss Wilson, but having to sit here and speak against you being in the position you're in. So again, Miss Wilson always was about the children and the parents. And if she was here today, whatever you're saying as the solicitor, she would make a way that he would not be in leadership representing this school district. The fact that when you guys did a memorial, y'all named a school after her, y'all talked about her legacy and these things of this nature, and knowing Miss McComb, superintendent, that has been many times that you know we was battling, fighting for the parents and the funding. And the one reason why I refuse to come to this school district is because it's like nothing has ever changed. It's like the same old thing. I haven't missed anything. And I refuse to come back and see the business as usual. And especially that you brought back the solicitor. Again, the recent decision that was made violating the New Jersey Protection Act and this school district being liable, something happened. Something happened that shows some wrongdoing. And I would say that I would hope that somebody comes up with some political courage to do the right thing. Because again, we have a school named after someone that I know for a fact she'd be in the back room tearing things down to keep something like this to happen. The community should not have to come out because, like has been mentioned, there's no way that this would happen in any other community. And back in the day, you know, if you did anything against a child, a white woman as a black man, you would be lynched, castrated, and anything other than. So again, this has to change.
Joe Burrier. And after Mr. Burrier, the next speaker is Jeff Fritz. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Superintendent, members of the board. My name is Joe Bouvier. I appreciate the opportunity to comment tonight. I am an attorney. I handle sexual harassment cases, and I have met with and represented victims of sexual assault, sexual harassment. The emotional trauma is something that lasts a long time. I'm appalled that Mr. Muhammad is allowed to serve as president of this board. I believe you, sir, should resign in shame. I agree with the comments of so many here who have spoken, and I feel for those who have talked about how they were victims of sexual assault. I keep going back to the question, what is best for the children of Camden? That is your responsibility as a board. The best for the city of Camden and the children of Camden is certainly not to have an adjudicated sexual harasser as president of the advisory school board. And let's look at this as for what's best for the school district itself. Mr. Muhammad is now an extreme liability risk to the school district and to the children of Camden. If similar conduct occurs again in the future, the school district will be required to pay an even larger legal award than $2 million, and this only hurts the school district and the children. So what should the school board be doing? Everything in its power to remove Mr. Muhammad. And even if they feel they don't have the legal authority to fire him, they should be going around getting signatures on recall petitions, and all of you should, in front of this group of people, should tell Mr. Muhammad that you think he should resign. If you don't do this, how are we supposed to believe that you are in favor of the school children in the District of Camden? I have nothing further to say.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jeff Fritz. Jeff Fritz. And after Mr. Fritz, the next speaker is Jay McCrae.
Let's go on here.
Good evening. I am the attorney for Salima Robinson, who in the early 1990s was a middle school student of, at that time, Donnie Walker at Cooper B. Hatch Middle School. This is her in 8th grade. Remember it. First, I'd like to set the record straight on the recent trial and the verdict, where Salima and I produced evidence that your advisory board president, Mr. Muhammad, groomed Salima as a child in order to sexually assault her. Mr. Muhammad, his supporters, and his lawyers have attempted to say that he was somehow exonerated by that jury. That's just not true. A jury from this community found in Salima's favor, and I have the verdict sheet right here. I brought copies for everybody. The jury heard from numerous witnesses, including Mr. Muhammad himself, and found that he committed acts of intentional infliction of emotional distress. That means that they found he intentionally or recklessly caused Salima severe emotional distress through his extreme and outrageous conduct. So with that finding, it is inconceivable that I'm standing before you with Mr. Muhammad serving as the president. Camden deserves better. Secondly, I am here to read a statement from Salima Robinson. I wanted to be at the meeting today, but I had to make the tough decision to prioritize my mental health. Every day is an intentional effort for me to function as a mother, wife, and educator. I am plagued with memories and nightmares of being sodomized by Mr. Muhammad. Nightmares of him luring me into a filthy bathroom in a porn theater and having someone there waiting to rape me so he could watch. The jury's verdict was made in May, and I have nothing at all to gain for sharing these words. I say in the hopes that you, the board, and the superintendent may make a decision to put the children and families of Camden first and remove this man from his duties. I join today with other concerned citizens, Governor Murphy, to beg of you to prioritize your allegiance to the safety and protection of students in Camden. Thank you.
Jay McCray. Next speaker is Jay McCray, and the speaker after Jay McCray is L. Moore.
Good evening, everyone. As a lifelong resident of Camden, this action of continuing under the leadership of this said president, I will not mention his current name, is disgraceful and truly a disservice to the city's constituents. As a woman who had the privilege of being educated in the Camden City School District, as a woman who went to the school with his victims, as a woman who remembers witnessing the anguish of one of his victims upon hearing of certain incidences during that time, as a female teacher in the district who listened to accounts of students who had experienced uninvited advances and abuse. Many children suffer from numerous adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs, which are trauma, and they do it daily. And a number of girls have suffered them at the hands of a member who you choose to not release from his position. To the women on the stage, remember when you were in middle school and maybe had a childhood crush, and I emphasize the word childhood, crush on a teacher? But as the adult who was charged to be in loco de parentes, which means in place of a parent, instead, he turned to be a mentally ill creeper. Instead of being able to enjoy years of memories that would be smiled upon later in life, girls in Camden now bow their heads in shame, remembering the grooming they endured at the hands of someone who was hired to be a role model, but instead was a predator. Our girls deserve to be valued. They deserve to be protected. In closing, don't let Donnie do it to another daughter of ours.
L. Moore is the next speaker, and after L. Moore is Theo Spencer.
Who's next?
L. Moore. It's number 19. Is L. Moore present? Okay. To the public, please, if you want to speak, you could have signed up. Ms. Moore, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. This was a place I had never planned to come again to address the residents in the city of Camden after having done it for so many years. But you know, Life has a way of telling you what you want to do, what you're going to do when you don't know what you're going to do. I've always said, things happen in Camden that don't happen nowhere else in the world. And you all have just proven that to me tonight. But I feel sorry for the young people, for the children, because that's why you're here. I've attempted to watch one board meeting with, I guess, you new board members. And it was so sad. I couldn't finish watching it because there was nothing. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know why you're there. I don't know how you got there. It is so sad. And I know because I went to board meetings in the city of Camden for many, many years. But I was just baffled. I said, I can't do this. And I never wanted to do this again. I say to you, the person of interest tonight, have you no shame? Have you no shame? I'm not going to condemn you. That's not my place to stand up here and condemn you. But I just simply say, have you no shame to listen to these people, to look around and hear all of these people getting up, speaking. You know, children are our future. And we have a responsibility to protect them and look out for them. I've contacted your superintendent. She doesn't bother to respond back to me either. But you know what you need to know? You paid for her to get her master's degree, as you did a whole lot of people in this town, teachers and what have you. Camden has done a momentous job in helping people and helping educators and myself. I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved had it not been for the city of Camden and these people here. And I thank you for that. But we need to get it together. You need to do a better job. I never expected miracles from you, Katrina, because I knew you were always an elementary person. And I knew dealing with the high school was not your forte. But you can do better. And you can do.
Thank you. Spencer is James Johnson. Sorry, the next speaker is Theo Spencer, and after Mr. Spencer is James Johnson.
Hey, what's going on? Theo Spencer, 1382 Hatton Avenue, former school board member. Ms. Moore talked about shame, and I don't believe there is any shame on that board. I think as a former board member, I would be remiss if I didn't state what the board could do. The board can absolutely entertain a motion to remove Mr. Muhammad as president. That doesn't mean that he won't be on the board, but he wouldn't have the title of president. Any board member could make that motion to remove him, and nobody has. And so that kind of speaks to how educated this board is on their role and responsibility and what they can do and what they can't do. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is it is correct. Unless Mr. Muhammad resigns, he cannot be forced off the board. You can't elect somebody to the board and then, just forcefully remove them. The only thing that can do that is a recall petition. And so what I've done with a few other concerned community members, I've started submitting the paperwork for a recall petition of Mr. Muhammad. So if there's anybody who wants to do what is the legal thing to remove him from office, we certainly can sign up for the recall petition. We can go out and get signatures, and we can put it on the ballot and allow the residents who put him on the board to take him off the board. So I think lastly, as we've got all this interest in the board and you see what the board is doing and what they're not doing, I just wanted to make mention of there are 5 seats that are going to be on the ballot in November for the school board. All of these people that are on the board right now are running unopposed. So as a community, if we think that we can do better or we need better on the board, we can start by at least having a write-in campaign for 5 people to replace this board, especially if they can't see fit to do what is in their power, which is to make a motion to remove Mr. Muhammad as president. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is James Johnson, and after James Johnson is Reverend Tim Merrill.
Good evening. I'm the 21st speaker, and anything that I have to say has probably been said already. The onus has been placed, been pleaded to, that y'all somehow removing Mr. Muhammad, right? Now, the thing is, y'all on the advisory board, right? I don't know how much power that is. Don't sound like it's too much power, right? But we can use a lot of common sense here, right? We can't have a person in any capacity serving in our school district, from a janitor to whatever, right? But we can have a president. Doesn't make very much sense, right? Another thing that doesn't make very much sense to me is how educators that we entrust with our children's, right, our future, right, are being ignored. They looking at y'all with shame. How could this possibly be, right? But what I'm gonna do right here is I want to take the onus off of the advisory board. And I would like to place it directly on Mr. Muhammad. Mr. Muhammad has done a lot of things with a lot of people and a lot of segments of the community in Camden. There is no doubt at one point. Mr. Muhammad, right, has done good things. He's a good man. He had been a good man, right? So the advisory board, right, should just turn their heads, right? Turn their heads. First, to look at him, and second, to look away from him, and leave it on Mr. Muhammad to do the right thing. Because I am convinced, I don't know, but I strongly believe that if this was another individual and Mr. Muhammad had to sit in judgment or had to protect the children, I think that he would do it, right? So, knowing or feeling that much, I think that Mr. Muhammad should just simply man up and just resign. Where the thing is, right, I have listened tonight, right, and I have friends. Resign. Please, do the right thing.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Reverend Tim Merrill, and after Reverend Merrill is Reverend Roy Jones.
If you put it on the... Good evening. Sister McCombs, my late father, Reverend Richard Merrill, my late sister, Joy Merrill, who invested in you as a young woman, are looking down from heaven, rooting for you to do what is courageous and what is right. And I trust that you'll do so. Minister Muhammad, I've always respected you, and I account you as my brother. And if you were my brother by birth, and I grew up with your brother, Jesse Mustafa Walker, from classmates from first grade up. If you were my brother by birth, I would give you this same counsel and ask you tonight to please step down. We need healing in our community. And I hope you hear all of the pain and all hurt and the anger that our community has suffered. You can help us in healing this community. That would be the best for us, the best for you, the best for this body, and most of all, the best for our children that need a spirit of healing. To your fellow board members, no, we realize that you do not have the legal authority to remove Minister Muhammad from his office as a board member. You do have areas where you can weigh in. The first is that we need you, we need the mayor of our city, the city council, the commissioner of education, the governor, anyone with power to make the personal statement that we cannot have questions about the integrity of those who oversee the education, health, and welfare of our children. You all have the ability, and I feel that the community is saying that you also have the responsibility to do so. And I'm disappointed that until now, none of you have done so. But I have confidence in you that tonight, what Dr. King say, how long, not long, that tonight we can have the motion for you to ask Mr. Muhammad to humbly step down as the president of this body. That is only right. President Lincoln, in his address in 1862 to Congress, said that history will not forget us. History will not forget or forgive you. He said your significance, your insignificance has no status in how you will be remembered. This is a historic moment that you have to stand up and say, this would not happen in Pennsauken, in Cherry Hill, in Haddonfield, in Chicago, in Pittsburgh, in Karachi, in Johannesburg, in Moscow, in Beijing, nowhere else but Camden, and it can't happen here, and we won't have business on you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Reverend Roy Jones, Reverend Jones. And after Reverend Jones, the next speaker is Antoinette Miles, excuse me.
Roy Jones, Reverend Jones. I'm one of the folk in the room that can also say that I know Minister Muhammad. And most of us know him, and I'm going to speak to him personally. First, I would have never put this before my family to allow them to hear all of this. This is something I would have never had my family have to experience. So I want to tell you personally that it's very important that we as black men, and I'm talking to you as a black man, I'm talking to you as another minister of the gospel. You know the Old Testament. I know the Old Testament, and the Word of God is clear. For all of us that might have issues about, there may not be a resolution tonight or some other things, the Word of God says this: fret not because of evildoers, nor envious against the workers of iniquity, for they will be cut down like the grass and wither like the grass. So I want to share with you a warning from the Word of God. Yes, we may not be able to remove you tonight, but there's a higher authority that will judge us and judge all of us. So I'm speaking to you as a man, a black man, as another minister. We have to set an example. We have to be clear. And to this board, you should have the courage. If you know anything about God, if you heard anything about God, you should have the courage to speak up when there's evil in our community, when there's tragedy in our community, when there's things out of order in our community. You should have the courage to do that. If not, you also are a spirit conspirator in this deal. So, I urge you, I plead with you as a man, a black man, for us to not set this example for our young black men, or for our women, or for the future of this community. I get calls from all over the country. Your name is all over the news, all over the country. And we need to, I'm asking you to just step down so that this issue can be put to rest. And I want to share another piece of a word with you, and that is this. We have a responsibility to protect our children, to love our children, and to keep them safe. Remember that. The Word of God says, how you treat the least of these, you treat me. How you treat the least of these, you treat me. Please.
Thank you. The next speaker is Antoinette Miles, and after Antoinette Miles is Valerie Baylor.
Thank you, board members, for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Antoinette Miles. I'm the State Director for New Jersey Working Families. We are an organization that is a coalition of unions, advocacy groups, and community organizations across this state. And we believe in equity, justice, and accountability, which is why I am here tonight. I really wish that I was not here tonight. I would rather be here in a meeting, hearing about the tremendous work that our young people are doing, hearing about the marching band, which I got to see their practice earlier, hearing about all the great things that our community is doing, except we are here tonight where our community is pleading and hurting for this board, this body, to respond to its demands for Mr. Muhammad to resign. And so, Mr. Muhammad, I don't know how you can leave this meeting here today and think that you have any other choice but to do what is right and to resign from your position. And to the board members, it seems that you continue to say that you have all the power to do nothing and no power to do anything. And that is a disgrace to this community, and it's a disgrace to the office that you serve. There are people here giving you the legal out. He has missed 3 consecutive board meetings. I'll leave it to you to determine whether if it was for good cause or not. There are people who are telling you that you can remove him as board president at the minimum, right? And I don't want to say the statute because I can pull up the receipts myself, but you can remove him as board president this evening. And so I wish that you would, and I urge you to act with the authority that these people in this audience and this community has invested in you. Because if you don't, I believe that this community is activated and organized and will remove that authority from you. I want to be abundantly clear about some things. Nowhere in the state of New Jersey would this be happening. Nowhere in the United States would this be happening, except for maybe our former president of the United States at the federal level to allow this conduct to be happening. I think that we need to send a message to our children that those who are in seats of power, when they are held liable, when they have had charges against them brought forward, that they will speak with conviction and integrity and remove themselves from office and remove themselves from positions of power. Otherwise, what message are we sending to our children? And so I urge you here today, Mr. Muhammad, to please resign, and board, make the motion to suspend him as board president. It's that simple. Make the motion.
Valerie Baylor. The next speaker is Valerie Baylor, and after Ms. Baylor is Ronsha Dickerson.
Good evening. I am a parent I'm a grandmom, and I'm here on the behalf of Camden Parent Union, Student Union. That's a position that I hold very, very proudly because we represent the students of Camden City Public Schools as well as the parents. When they don't have a voice, we give them a voice. So I stand here today to just say a few words. Humility, responsibility is missing. I mean, Mr. Walker, I don't know what title to give you right now, I've heard them all, but how do you sit there and listen to all of this? We will gladly excuse you as you leave your seat to leave, because that's what you should be doing. You should be leaving. The fact that this is something that's happening in our city, in a city where it goes without saying, our school systems are down here because we're losing all our public schools. And that seems to be overlooked because it's all about money, okay? It's all about money, and there's a song for that, and ain't a damn thing funny, you know? But it's just ridiculous that we are here. There's a lot of residents here, a lot of people that care about this city, and to be nationally known for all of the bad things, all of the foul things that come out of the city is not representing us. We deserve and we demand better. Please leave, because we are fed up and fired up.
Ronsha Dickerson, and after Ms. Dickerson is Shabri Muhammad.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Ronsha Dickerson. Yeah, this is heavy. So, I think the questions that we have to ask to you all is that, how much more do you think we can take? Think about it. When we fought to get the school board the right to vote back, y'all all said vote yes. We said vote no. Then y'all all got behind all the people that we were running against and gave them money for their campaigns to run us out. So now we have no one on the school board who represents us. Let's go back to the beginning. Y'all were taking money from the Democratic committee and putting that money behind these campaigns, and then y'all were running on the tickets with the mayor. Y'all were showing your power, flexing on us, and the community was struggling because we didn't have the money, but we had the will. We won that no vote, 80-20, because we were trying to show y'all that the community needed a voice on the school board. But y'all don't want to talk about that when y'all look at y'all running again. All of y'all are entitled. Because we did the work. Y'all sitting in those seats because we did the work. It was our names. It was our names that was on the lawsuits. We got the bullseyes on our back, but y'all reap the benefits of sitting in the seats. Y'all reap the benefits. So let's talk the truth now. How much more do you think we can take? I'm not going to address the situation at hand. I'm going to talk about what's getting ready to happen. Y'all get ready to sell our school district out. And we know it. Y'all have to have somebody sitting at the head that's going to sign the check, that's going to do the approval. Y'all gave the school district away. Renaissance Schools has vacuumed all of our children out of our schools. And now y'all letting us sit here feuding with different parents and different schools. You're shutting down schools, saying that you're about to remake those schools. And we get this instead. We get Camden High School that's busting at the seams, that's weed in the hallways, that cannot even do things like this, y'all. They can't even make their own schedules now because the schedules have to go through someone who was just hired on a school district. So now schedules are coming from these people, not from our principals. It is starting to be some kind of problem here. Camden has a problem. And I'm not going to address not near one of y'all, but I tell you one thing. When your time comes to speak, you better not disrespect us. Because we're tired of that too. Every time we come up here to speak to y'all, y'all come back at us like we wrong. Y'all got all of our numbers. Y'all can call all of us. And y'all never call us. Y'all never ask us one question.
Y'all never talk to us as we're humans. Y'all put us in categories and put us to the side. And say they and them. But let me tell you something. Y'all not like us. Y'all not like us. Y'all not like us. Thank you.
Shabri Muhammad, and after Shabri Muhammad is Dr. Nicole Muhammad. Shabri Muhammad, thank you.
Good afternoon, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, the Advisory Board, Superintendent.
Members of the public, can you please respect each individual speaker? No one interrupted others when they were speaking. Please give other members of the public the same respect. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, the Advisory Board Superintendent in Camden City School District. My name is Sister Shabri Muhammad. I am a proud wife of Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. I am a proud graduate of Camden City Public Schools, and I'm the director of the University of Islam number 20. The University of Islam is a private school under the executive direction of Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, particularly why he's here. And I want to share some of the successes of the Camden City students that we're all here for. Before I do that, I want to thank the district and its policies for keeping me a happy, healthy, and safe alumni. Most importantly, thank you for giving me the gift of being able to read and comprehend. Under the direction of Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad and his leadership talents of 16 years, our students have grown into brave, responsible, law-abiding community citizens, and they have participated in various areas that make us a successful community. Our students have been sent to Morgan State University with degrees in accounting, Fairleigh Dickinson, Rowan University, achieving degrees in business, Stockton University, achieving degrees in culinary arts, community activists, city government employees, Virginia Union University, technical apprentices, Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. I'll wait.
Members of the public, can you please stop interrupting other speakers? Thank you. The young lady in the back, could you please stop screaming and disrupting the meeting? Okay. All right, members of the board, can we entertain a motion to go into closed executive session to discuss matters of personnel, attorney-client privilege, personnel, and other matters exempt from public disclosure under the Open Public Meetings Act. Minutes will be taken and released to the public if and when the need for confidentiality no longer exists, and action may be taken by the board when it reconvenes in public session. Members of the public, the board will come back out and we will entertain another section of public comment. Please note that under the law, all that is required is the board to set aside a portion of the meeting for public comment. That portion has been set aside. The board has met its legal obligation. Due to members of the public consistently interrupting this meeting, we are suspending public comment at this time. Thank you. We're in closed session. Well, actually, can we get a motion? Motion by Mr. Nelson, second by Mr. Hudson. All in favor? All in favor? Aye. We're in closed session. Thank you. Excuse me, members of the public who are still assembled in attendance, it is now 7:31 p.m., August 27th. The Board of Education, we no longer have a quorum, so legally this meeting cannot proceed. So tonight's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.